Good evening and a very warm welcome to India Matters on Wednesday night. What a milestone day this is for the country. India's second spaceman in history, as we speak, is zooming through space, making his way with his crew to the International Space Station. This is history in the making, and in a short while from now here on India Matters, the person of the moment, not Group Captain Shubhanshu, but his dear beloved mother, will be joining me live. She's become India's darling for her emotional reaction to her son's space flight. Stay tuned for that. But today is also the anniversary of something just a little darker. Viewer, today is 50 years since India's darkest democratic moment. Half a century since the emergency was imposed, and yet it continues to hang like an albatross around the country's and the Congress party's neck. And the real tragedy, the Congress party still doesn't really know what to do with it. Instead of exorcising this ghost, the Congress ecosystem is still busy rationalizing it, blaming conspiracies, hinting at RSS plots, and even calling Indira Gandhi noble for holding elections after 21 months of suspended democracy. Think about that, praising the jailer for eventually opening the jail cell door. Well, sure, the Modi government is making an absolute political meal of Samvidhan Hatya Divas, isn't it? But can you blame them really, honestly, no matter where you stand politically? The Congress has made it laughably easy, too hesitant to rebuke a Gandhi family decision, too timid to cut itself loose from the past. The Congress party is left looking weak, mealy-mouthed, indecisive and defensive. How does it expect to attack the Modi government on alleged authoritarianism when it won't honestly confront its own history of real documented dictatorship? For all that the Congress says about Modi, and there are many legitimate things that the Congress does have to take on Modi for, is it really surprised that he has invested so much political capital in making this on the nation's annual calendar, putting this on the nation's annual calendar? When your rival leaves the wicket wide open, you don't miss the shot. 50 years on, the emergency is no longer just a historical event. It is a relic of our past that this government is intent on educating new generations about. Remember, 50 years is a long time. At least 3 generations weren't even born when this happened. So it never fully evaporates from collective public memory. That's what all the buzz over Samvidhan Hatya Divas is about. It's what I like to call a litmus test of political honesty, and the Congress continues to give the equivalent of a full toss to its rivals.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
लोकतंत्र का गला घोंट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई थी।
June 25th, 1975, a date that would stain the Indian Republic forever. A midnight decision, silent, sudden, and totally seismic. Over the next 30 minutes, this NDTV special report tells you about how the world's largest democracy, our democracy, was switched off.
"15 minutes before midnight on June 25, 1975, President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed signed the proclamation.
राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
The emergency was now in effect. No press release, no cabinet discussion, no warning. Radio stations played patriotic music. the country would wake up to find democracy interrupted. Over 100,000 opposition leaders, activists, journalists and students were arrested overnight. Printing presses were raided. Newspapers went black. Fundamental rights were suspended by decree. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, facing imminent disqualification from Parliament, struck preemptively, turning a legal crisis into a constitutional collapse. A silent coup without tanks. A night without a dawn. The emergency had begun.
And what followed was repression that the country hadn't seen since the British Raj. And remember, this was a relatively young country. A sudden system of fear just swept in, a government determined to crush the opposition at any cost, and a nation that was now forced into submission.
Article 352 invoked. The press censored. Parliament sidelined. Courts silenced. Indira Gandhi's son, Sanjay Gandhi, became the unelected Tsar of India. Controversial sterilization drives swept through poor neighborhoods. Dissenters were picked up, jailed without trial under the infamous MISA, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Detentions, arrests, protests, families torn apart. Journalists wrote fiction to keep their papers running.
अनुशासन के नाम पर अनुशासन का खून भंग कर दिया संघ को कैसा चढ़ा जुनून मात्र पूजा प्रतिबंधित कुटिल कर रहे केशव कुल की कीर्ति कलंकित कह कैदी कविराय तोड़ कानूनी कारा गूंजेगा भारत माता की जयकारा.
This was India under the emergency. Not a democracy, but a police state with parliament as a prop.
The truth is, when freedoms are taken, the scars do not ever show immediately. That's the ironic truth about them. But they run extremely deep. 21 months of emergency left behind a trail of pain, broken institutions, and institutional mistrust that continued for many years to come.
कार्यक्रम है जो हिंदुस्तान के लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है. वो कार्यक्रम है परिवार नियोजन का. तो हंसने से परिवार नियोजन नहीं होगा. इसमें काफी काम करना पड़ता है.
8 million forced sterilizations in a year. More than 1 lakh political prisoners. Thousands of homes bulldozed in beautification drives. Victims of forced sterilization recall being dragged from homes. Slum residents recount bulldozers arriving without notice. Writers describe the fear of blank pages. Even the judiciary bent. In the infamous ADM Jabalpur case, the Supreme Court ruled the right to life stands suspended during the emergency. The price wasn't just paid in lives, but in the soul of Indian democracy. A soul that would take years to recover.
It isn't just legend, it is truth. And that is that not everyone bowed. Even in the darkness of emergency, resistance flickered through pamphlets, protests, and an underground network that kept hope alive in literally every corner of this vast country, including someone who perhaps needs no introduction today.
JP, as Jayaprakash Narayan was known, became the face of rebellion. From Patna to Delhi, student groups became the front lines of dissent.
छात्रों और जनता के आंदोलन में जो मुख्य बात उठाई गई थी वो यह थी कि प्रशासनिक और चुनाव संबंधी सुधार किए जाएं, जिससे कि चुनाव सस्ते हों, सही तौर पर प्रतिनिधित्व संभव हो और प्रशासन जनता के निकट आए।
In Gujarat, a young RSS pracharak named Narendra Modi operated underground, helping coordinate resistance and escape routes. He used disguises, fake IDs, and couriered banned literature across state lines. The underground press printed leaflets overnight. Small radios crackled with messages of defiance. Secret meetings in temples and basements gave voice to the voiceless. For every day of silence, there was someone whispering truth in the dark.
"21 months may not seem like a long time, but it's an eternity when the circumstances are such." The emergency finally ended only in 1977, but its echoes remain even now 50 years later. And its mindset still lurks. As India marks half a century since that dark chapter, are we sure, are we certain it can never happen again?
Indira Gandhi was voted out, democracy restored, but the culture of unquestioning obedience survived. Governments since have threatened the press, used sedition and UAPA laws, crushed dissent with police power. Prime Minister Modi has often called the emergency India's darkest hour.
देश की आत्मा को कुचल दिया गया था, देश के मीडिया को दबोच दिया गया था, पूरे हिंदुस्तान को जेल खाना बना दिया गया था.
But critics say even today, institutions are still vulnerable to overreach. The emergency lasted 21 months, but the fight for freedom is forever. Never forget, never again.
जब देश संविधान के 25 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा था, उसी समय हमारे देश में संविधान को नोच लिया गया, इमरजेंसी आपातकाल लाया गया. संवैधानिक व्यवस्थाओं को समाप्त कर दिया गया, देश को जेल खाना बना दिया गया, नागरिकों के अधिकारों को लूट लिया गया, प्रेस की स्वतंत्रता को ताले लगा दिए गए, और कांग्रेस के माथे पर ये जो पाप है ना, वो कभी भी धुलने वाला नहीं है, कभी भी धुलने वाला. यह सब हिंदुस्तान, दुनिया में जब जब लोकतंत्र की चर्चा होगी, कांग्रेस के माथे का ये पाप कभी धुलने वाला नहीं है.
And 50 years later, the emergency has proven to be just as hot a political football as it was in the years following emergency. Just take a look at the big crossfire between the Congress and the BJP today, half a century later.
25 तारीख को आपातकाल लगाया गया. कारण तो कहा कि राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा खतरे में है, परंतु पूरी दुनिया अब जानती है राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा को कुछ नहीं हुआ था, उनकी कुर्सी खतरे में थी. बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर संविधान का निर्माण किया था, वो सारी चर्चाओं का अंत इंदिरा जी ने, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आज आपातकाल की घोषणा की है. एक वाक्य बोलकर सारे संविधान के स्पिरिट को खत्म करने का काम किया.
अरे इमरजेंसी तो अब आपने लाई है, ये अनडिक्लेयर्ड इमरजेंसी है. वो इमरजेंसी तो चले गई, जो संविधान में बदलाव भी हो गया, और जब संविधान में बदलाव हो गया, जिसके लिए हम भी, इंदिरा गांधी जी ने खुद उस अमेंडमेंट को मोरारजी का साथ दिया और वो बदल गया. अब नहीं है वो.
केवल एक राजनीतिक घटना नहीं थी, बल्कि लोकतंत्र पर सीधा हमला था, एक कुठाराघात था. 50 वर्ष बाद भी कांग्रेस उसी मानसिकता के साथ जी रही है. उसकी नीयत आज भी वैसी ही तानाशाही वाली है.
आरएसएस और बीजेपी ने अपनी उंगली भी नहीं कटाई उस वक्त में. इनको पूछो, इनको उस वक्त में इन्होंने क्यों नहीं आजादी जंग में भाग लिया. और बेरोजगारी है, उसकी चिंता इनको नहीं है. महंगाई बहुत भयंकर बढ़ रही है, उसकी चिंता इनको नहीं है. तो और क्या करेंगे? इमरजेंसी की बात करेंगे.